Okay, so I have a little bit of a confession. While I've been spending 2025 getting my physical TBR under control, I have let my Kindle TBR get out of control. I currently have about 130 unread books on this little thing, and it's just getting worse. Honestly, lads, the Kindle deals make absolute bits of my willpower. You know, all those books that we say, oh, I'd like to read that one day. When I see those for 99p, I tend to not be able to help myself. Today I'm going to give you my most recent purchases on there, and I'm going to let you hold me that little bit accountable, and you can help me pick which ones I want to read sometime in the not too distant future. Alright, let's start with what has strangely enough become my comfort zone. We're going to start with fantasy, and I have 8 books here that I really want to prioritize. That first book is fantasy, but it's also literary fiction. It is a chunk of a book. It is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I cannot stop banging on about Piranesi, but Jonathan Strange, I won't lie, it intimidates me because it's such a chunk of a book, which is why it is perfect to have on an e-reader, I think. To me, this book seems like such a mesh of so many things that I love. Susanna Clarke's writing, literary fiction, fantastical historical fiction. I think for me it probably has it all. This book is over 800 pages of dense, footnote heavy, alternate history England, but with magicians. It's basically Victorian literature meets fantasy, and that honestly sounds incredible, but also a little bit terrifying. So I figured when I saw it on a Kindle deal not too long ago, maybe it was the ideal time to pick it up, because I can't use the excuse of it's too heavy to carry anymore because my Kindle is tiny. The premise is basically magic used to exist in England, but it's been gone for centuries. These two particular magicians bring it back during the Napoleonic Wars. It's supposed to be witty and intricate and beautiful and brilliant, so absolutely no pressure on me to love it. Book number 2 then is a book that I just couldn't help myself with when I saw it on deal, because this is a very new book. I'm talking about Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. And if you've been doing the rounds on BookTube or BookTok or Bookstagram, you will know that Rebecca Ross is like a darling in the book world. The Divine Rivals duology was just kind of everywhere. I personally really enjoyed it as well. The first book more so than the second, but I really again love that sort of historical alternate history with a bit of magic going on, and I've been hearing really great things about her newest release. The premise, I believe, is something along the lines of like nature magic and enemies who are forced to work together. And apparently it's got that same really gorgeous and lyrical writing that made me love Divine Rivals so much. I have a feeling that I'm pretty much going to devour this one in one sitting when I actually get to it. Rebecca Ross has earned that sort of trust from me. And another book that was released this year, Oathbound by Tracy Deonn. I actually pre-ordered this one and still haven't read it. So this is the third book in the Legendborn trilogy. We have Legendborn, Bloodmarked, and now Oathbound. If you haven't read these books, they are like a modern retelling of Arthurian legends, and our protagonist is a young black teenage girl, and this is the kind of book that deals with grief and systemic racism and magic in a really powerful way. I'm so excited to get back into these books. I cannot tell you, they are YA books, but they are written with such incredible nuance and such incredible depiction of what's going on. There's so much underlying thematically in these books, and I'm really excited for it. I need to know what happens next, but I also feel like I need to be in the right headspace, because thematically these books are actually quite heavy, even in spite of the fact that they are YA, but they're so worth it. And if I use my Kindle for anything, it's for buying books that I'm not necessarily sure about, but that I think might be a little bit of fun, and this was one of those purchases. So the next book I'm going to talk about is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. We have Vikings, Norse mythology, a shield maiden who's blessed by the gods. Do I need to say more? This is apparently a really character-driven romantasy with incredible world building and a slow burn romance that people are absolutely raving about. I'm really intrigued by the idea of Norse mythology retellings because I don't think I've actually read any of them so far. And this is a book that a lot of people have said is a lot better than they were expecting, but then I've also seen some pretty awful reviews for it as well, so I've decided it's time that I made up my own mind on it. Lately I am in the mood for something epic and sweeping, and this feels like it might deliver on that. Plus, I mean, Vikings. Come on. And then a little bit of dark, fantastical academia, An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson. So this is essentially dark academia meets magic. Yes, please. This, I think, is about a secret university where students learn persuasion magic. And our protagonist has the innate gift of persuasion, the ability to wield her will like a weapon and to use it to influence her surroundings and the people around her. The premise alone has me sold, in fairness. But then I read that it's got really morally grey characters, a bit of a mystery at the heart of the story, and apparently some really twisted magical consequences. It sounds like it is deliciously dark. This feels like it could be a new favourite if it properly delivers on its premise. Next then, a book by an author that you have seen absolutely everywhere, and of course I'm going to mention it as well. So this is one that I didn't initially think that I would like all that much, but the more I heard about it, the more I'm like, that could be a bit of fun. I'm talking about Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So Ali Hazelwood, of course, is known for her contemporary romances. She blew up with, I think, The Love Hypothesis, and she writes a lot of books about women in STEM, which brilliant, and steamy romances as well, if you're into that sort of thing. This, though, I think was her first fantasy romance. I think she has a couple now. There is a sequel to this one as well, so if I love this one, Mate might be in my future too. This apparently is like a vampire werewolf romance with political intrigue, forced proximity, and apparently people are pretty much losing their minds when they read this book. I'm so curious to see how Ali Hazelwood's signature banter and chemistry really translate into a more fantastical world. The reviews seem to be pretty good once you realise what you're actually getting yourself in for and you accept that, and I'm excited to pick this one up because sometimes you just need a book that doesn't take itself too seriously. So those are my 6 fantasy reads that I'm looking forward to. And before I move on into horror, I'm just gonna mention something that I think some of you might be interested in. Of course, we all know that the holidays and Christmas are coming, and if you yourself are looking for something a little bit luxe and a little bit nice to treat yourself with, or you're looking for a gift to buy for somebody, I might just have the thing for you. The Bookish Balance Box is a subscription book box that basically melds both fantasy and wellness to give the most luxurious subscription box you have ever come across. If you're curious and would like a bit of a discount, I'm going to pop it on screen here and I'll leave a link down below, and my code will get you 10% off the full box or 15% off individual things within the shop. But here's the catch. This book box is quite exclusive and it only goes on sale for about 5 days, and the next box is on sale right now from the 29th of November right through to the 3rd of December, and then once it's gone, it is gone. And now onto a bit of horror. So let's start with a bit of a classic. I bought The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty for spooky season and just happened to not actually get around to it, but this is one that obviously we are all aware of. I've seen the film, but somehow I've just never read the book. Everyone says that the book is even more disturbing than the film, and honestly I'm not really sure that I'm ready for that, but I'm willing to give it a go anyway. Maybe I'll read it this winter when it's dark and cozy, maybe I'll never read it. We'll wait and see. Next then, because I am a glutton for punishment and I do love a long book, I bought The Stand by Stephen King. So this is over 1,000 pages of post-apocalyptic horror. Of course I'm not going to carry that around in my bag, I'm going to keep it on my Kindle. And I'm a little bit terrified but also so excited to read this one. Everyone says it is one of King's best works. It's essentially about a plague that wipes out most of humanity, and then the survivors have to live together and decide and fight between good and evil amongst themselves. It's apparently incredibly philosophical, a bit terrifying, and absolutely gripping. I have a feeling that once I start this one, it's the kind of book that I'm not going to want to put down. And the next book, while it is a horror, I've heard that it is more sort of romance leaning as well. I've never read from this author. The book I'm talking about is The Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. This is a historical horror set in 1840s Mexico, and as I've mentioned, it is slightly more romance leading. It's set during the American-Mexican War and it's about vampires, but not not the sparkly vampires we might know and love. These are the terrifying monstrous type. The premise sounds pretty great. We have childhood sweethearts who meet after years and they're fighting a war against vampires, I think. This one is romance, horror and historical fiction, and it's got Mexican folklore woven right in through it as well. I love when horror is grounded in a specific historic and cultural context, and I have a feeling this book will be right up my street. And then another slightly more literary leaning horror is The Reformatory by Tananarive Dew, and this is a historical book set in 1950s Florida in a reform home for boys. I think it's based on the real Dozier School for Boys, which has a horrific history. The book follows a black boy who's sent to this reform school, and he encounters both human evil and supernatural horror. It's supposed to be absolutely devastating and terrifying and really important all at once. I bought this because this author is a legend in horror fiction and I've heard so many great things about it, but I definitely know that I need to be in the right emotional headspace for this one, so I'm holding out for now, but I feel like this is one I really want to pick up sometime early enough in the new year. And okay, we might need a bit of a breather after all of that horror. Let's talk some more literary fiction and contemporary reads. The books that are going to make me feel something but in a completely different way. And the first one is a literary book, but it leans very magical realism folklore, and I'm talking about The Snow Child by Eowyn Ivy. So this is a book that is based on a retelling of a Russian fairy tale of a couple who build a child out of snow, and this child comes to life. This is another historical one. It's set in 1920s Alaska. I am really obsessed with the premise of this one. It's supposed to be beautifully written and atmospheric and heartbreaking in the absolute best way. It's one of those books that really blurs the line between what's real and what's fantasy and what's magical, and I really love stories like that. I bought it because I wanted something wintry and contemplative, but this also just feels perfect for a cozy reading session by the fire. It's been on my TBR for ages, honestly, and when I saw it on a deal I decided to buy it, and I really just need to finally give it the attention that it deserves and sit down and read it. And next then is a book that everybody and their mother has read. I'm talking about Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. This is another historical one set in the 1960s this time. We follow a female chemist and she gets pushed out of her career, I believe, and ends up hosting what is essentially a cooking show where she teaches women science and chemistry. It's feminist, apparently it's funny, and apparently it's really heartwarming, and seems like everybody that I know that's read it has really loved it. I'm genuinely excited to see what all the hype is about with this one. And then of course we have Emily Henry, and I have yet to read Funny Story. I've been working my way through her books, but this is just one I haven't gotten to yet. Emily Henry seems to be every sort of contemporary literary romance fan's comfort author. I know exactly what I'm getting into when I pick up one of her books. Witty banter, usually some sort of small town charm, and characters I'll fall in love with, and probably a little smile on my face as well. This one I think is about a woman whose fiance leaves her for his best friend or her best friend, one of those, and then she ends up in a fake relationship with the best friend's ex. It's got all of these rom-com tropes, and I know it's going to be exactly the kind of cozy, feel-good, light-hearted book I will be in the mood for one of these days. And now we're in the home stretch. I have two books that are more sort of mystery leaning, so let's get into those. The first one that I'm going to mention is one that I couldn't not buy, and for some reason I still haven't read it. I'm talking about The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell. This is essentially a murder mystery set during a competitive baking show. This to me is just such a fun premise. It's like the Great British Bake Off meets Knives Out, two things that I absolutely love. So I think this has 6 contestants and 1 host, and it's set in like this really beautiful Vermont setting, and then someone turns up dead. I think it's got multiple points of view, and it's got lots of secrets and apparently some quite clever twists. I bought this because I do love a good locked room mystery, but it also just sounds so cozy and like something that will be right up my street. Something that I can just fly through in a day when I just fully want to be entertained. And finally, a book by an author that I have yet to read from, but I have heard so many good things about. The last book I'm going to mention is The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. This is a mystery, but it's like a time slip mystery about a woman who keeps seeing a door that nobody else can see. And when she walks through it, she ends up in the past trying to solve a family mystery. I love time slip stories, and this one sounds twisty and emotional and really atmospheric atmospheric. Adrienne Young is an author that a lot of people really rave about, and I really want to see what all the hype is about with this one. And apparently this one has small town vibes and family secrets, which again, right up my alley. So there you have it, 15 unread books sitting on this tiny little device. Looking at this list, I probably shouldn't be patting myself on the back for getting my physical TBR solo, because this has really gotten out of control. I've been buying books so much faster than I can read them. Which of these books should I read first? Drop your vote in the comments below. Should I start with the intimidating Jonathan Strange? Should I dive into a bit of horror with the Exorcist? Or go for something a little bit more cozy like the Golden Spoon? Let me know in the comments below. Do you buy a lot of books on your e-reader as well, or do you just buy ones that you want to read and read them when you buy them? Drop the number in the comments below. Make me feel a bit better about myself. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more from me, maybe watch this video, and of course don't forget to subscribe if you do want to see more, and maybe pop us a little like as well. Thank you so much for watching as ever. Take care, pals, and I'll chat to you next week in another video.